Welcome to the Explorer's Guide to Nordhaven. In the first episode of this series, I'll detail every single lore and story aspect of the world of Nordhaven and its townies, as well as every hidden secret or Easter egg there is to find in the world released with the Sims 4 Business and Hobbies expansion pack. And believe it or not, there's a ton of lore, from two of the most interesting Sims that have ever been released to unexpectedly more lore about Princess Cordelia. Before we get started, however, quick disclaimer. I received early access to the Sims 4 Business and Hobbies expansion pack for a paid promotion of a separate video, as well as being part of the EA Creator Network. EA is not paying me for this video and has not had a single hand in its content or its opinions. That being said, as a lifetime Sims fan, I'm going to gush over the things we did get and not really focus on the things we didn't. I'm not telling you to buy the expansion pack or use my creator code or anything like that. I'm just gushing about the lore, okay? Alright, welcome to Nordhaven. Described as a northern coastal city known for its thriving independent local businesses and the enchanting beauty of its cold seasons, Nordhaven is inspired by many different Scandinavian cities such as Copenhagen, Stockholm, or Oslo. Nordhaven's most distinct feature is its many different means of transportation that isn't cars, which if I was a betting man would say that it's a subtle jab at players demanding them. Jokes aside, you'll find Sims on bicycles everywhere. In fact, some bicycles can be clicked on to travel to other places, but don't get too excited. It's just like clicking on your phone, but more immersive, I guess. There's also trains and ferries constantly running across the neighborhoods, and the former can be hopped on to travel just like bikes. The world is divided into two neighborhoods, Iverstad and Gammelvik. Iverstad is the industrial district, so you'll find a ton of abandoned factories, graffiti, and other oddities which we'll get into later. Gammelvik is the historic district, so amongst ruins and ancient buildings, you'll find beautiful parks, monuments, and meetup spots. As far as what there is to do, of course you'll find tattoo shops, pottery shops, and coffee shops, which are meant to showcase the new small business system introduced in the pack. But there's also a museum, a lounge, a park, which is really a construction job that was abandoned and now serves as a place for local graffiti artists to practice their craft, and a few cool meetup spots that rotate and change their preferred activity on a daily basis. You can also visit cathedrals and go train spotting, but aside from a funny moodlet, there isn't really anything that happens as a result. We don't know or get any information about how Nordhaven came to be or its history, but we do begin to paint a picture that Nordhaven is at a low point, and that its local entrepreneurs and artists are starting to allow the city to flourish. So let's learn a little bit more about them. Nordhaven brings 4 placed households and 3 roaming households, which is a surprisingly small amount, but they're really interesting. The Lodins are an ancient family that's run the Coffee Boon Cafe since the town's founding. The shop is currently run by Nora, who feels a tremendous amount of pressure to live up to her father's legacy. Nora's trying to prepare her eldest daughter Freya to take over, but Freya has no interest to do so and would rather be working out, which has frayed their relationship. Nora is happily married to renowned artist Dahlia Lodin, who's written masterpieces such as And They Were Kilnmates, Bleeding Thorns, and Hey Babe. Not that one is more of a mother than the other, but all signs point to Nora being the biological mother of Freya and Eric. Speaking of, Eric is a promising young artist, and Grandma Hati, Nora's mother, regularly dotes on him and Freya, as all grandmas should. This family shares one thing in common. They all hate the Hoffmans. Bruno and Felix Hoffman run the Hoffman Candy Stall, an ancient candy manufacturer in Nordhaven. Bruno's son, whom we don't meet, didn't take the reins, and everyone thought Bruno would sell the business. But his grandson Felix came along and started managing the business, which is weird since Felix hates children, which is sort of an odd career choice for him. If you ask Nora why they're feuding, she tells you that the Hoffmans stole their family's jelly bean cookie recipe. However, if you ask Felix, he says that Nora's family called his grandmother a thief, which Bruno can't forgive. We don't know the whole story, but Bruno does have the kleptomaniac trait, so... Alright, moving on. Gert and Jolanda Koopman run the ceramic shop Terrapotta. The two fell in love when they were young and had a daughter who's now moved away. Time has strained their relationship, and the two are not doing well romantically at the start of the game. Their bio indicates that Gert is flirting with other people, but the relationship tab doesn't back that up, so it might just be a rumor. The Urbane house sharers are made up of Cannonball Coleman and Crispin Black, who are from the Herb Sims in the Cities, which is just the most random callback, but I'm living for it. The two are now an elder and adult respectively, and they're living together to make ends meet. Crispin adopted a young son, Ollie Mark. According to gossip, Crispin keeps in touch with Ollie's birth parents, but no one knows who they are. Sadly, Crispin isn't the most attentive father and lets Ollie get away with anything. But Cannonball has grown really fond of him and sees it as an opportunity to finally have a son. Nia Sarpong and her daughter Lorado have just returned to Nordhaven. Nia had spent some time with underground tattoo artists, but now opened the tattoo parlor Spilled Neon. Her daughter wants to study astronomy and Nia wants to do as much good as possible, but that's going to be a steep hill because they literally don't know anybody at the start of the game. Finally, we have Corey Nihus and Zayn Amri. The two are separate households but couldn't be more different. Corey believes in going with the flow and idly people watching, while Zane left their family home to one day become a world famous singer. And those are almost all the townies in Nordhaven. There are 2 more we need to talk about, but in order to meet them, we need to talk about the secrets and Easter eggs in Nordhaven. Like most recent expansions, a lot of the secrets are behind the collectibles introduced in the pack. The first one is actually hinted at in various parts of the pack. The description for Iverstad mentions to steer clear of a dark alley where a shady character hangs out at night. Some gossip also mentions whispers coming from the bin in said dark alley. And lo and behold, you can find said dark alley with a clickable trash bin where you can look inside, rummage, or read a mysterious note. Reading the note reveals a person named Trashly runs a store in the alley after 5 PM. This person is called Trashly Real Pearson, and they have the title Legitimate and Normal. You can't see their face, but this mysterious paw print on the front of their coat and tail sticking out from the back leads us to believe this is actually a bunch of raccoons. Why raccoons specifically? Well, if you search the trash can, you get this buff, but we'll learn more as we go along. Trashly has an option to see his wares. Aside from some random stuff, he offers you to buy a box, a best box, and a better box. Opening these has a chance to grant you a piece of Trashly's certified art collection. These 16 pieces are remakes of existing art in the game, but featuring raccoons. Some of the descriptions in these items actually expand on Princess Cordelia's lore. The Critter Blues portrait explains how sad Cordelia was having to leave her band behind when she went into her submersible. Which implies Trashly must have known the princess, right? Raccoon in Boxes says raccoons are better than sloths because raccoons would never invade Princess Cordelia's home. Which again is a reference to the Great Sloth Invasion. Cordelia's royal bust mentions how much Cordelia loved tea and meeting with her pirate boyfriend, which again implies Trashly was friends with her. And lastly, Jazz Friends describes Cordelia's love of jazz music, which Trashly loves too. This item also mentions Smeagol, which if you don't know is a dog that was created on Reddit with a million-yard stare that The Sims 4 actually canonized in Fort Rent. There's actually a lot of references to jazz in the business and hobbies built by objects, and it's kind of unexplainable. But I think the implication here is that Cordelia is originally from Nordhaven. I know it's a weak connection, but if Trashly knew her and talks about her home, then it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Let me know what you think. There are a few items that directly reference Trashy as well. Obviously this trash bin is a reference, but these 3 windows really stand out. Across the 3 items, the creator questions Trashly's true nature, only to come to the realization what Trashly really is. By the way, once you befriend Trashly, he's just a regular sim that you can invite over or even woohoo with. However, by default, Trashly has no orientation or interest in people, but weirdly has the soulmate aspiration? The final and perhaps coolest secret in Nordhaven is Britta Cykel. The second collection set, Nordhaven Bike Parts, can be completed by going to fishing spots in Nordhaven and selecting the Clean Canal option. There are 28 pieces total, and it took me a long time to get them all. But each piece reveals the story of bike maker, world explorer, and matriarch Britta Cykel. Each piece contains a quote from a person who knew Mrs. Cykel throughout her life, many of which were her own family members. I was able to put together this family tree, so let's break it down. Lars is Britta's partner. He often asked her if she loved him or her bikes more, and her response was always that her heart was big enough to love everything and everyone. Maria, who was also in a relationship with Britta, would often ask her what she meant to her, which she would respond that they were 2 souls entwined, lucky to have met in this lifetime. Lena, Britta's sister, revealed that Britta didn't believe that she belonged to anyone but herself and loved both Lars and Maria equally. Sarah and Matilda are Britta and Lars' children, who revealed that Britta taught them how to ride and appreciate bikes from a really early age. Suzanne is Sarah's daughter, who reveals that Britta returned to Iverstead after the family grew up but still held yearly gatherings. Mary, Jan, and Emma are Britta's grandchildren, but it's not clear who their mother is. Jan reveals that Britta didn't believe in marriage, which is why she never married Lars. And Mary remembered how her mother treated repairing bikes. Emma liked that she gave her cotton candy. I mean, she's a kid, come on. We also learn of a few other Sims who weren't related to Britta whom she still made an impact with. Sophie, who's responsible for this mermaid statue, hints that Britta might have been the model for it. Johan, the sculptor of this statue, hates that it became known as Britta's pistachio because Britta used to sit on the gazebo and just stare at it. I mean, but it definitely is a pistachio. Ingrid was Britta's apprentice who sold the shop after Britta died because it didn't feel the same. Nia Sarpong seemed to know about Britta's secret tattoos. And this Eric might be Eric Loden, but that implies that Britta died recently since he's just a kid. It's unclear who these other people are, and I haven't been able to find a direct reference. But I think this Anne might be Anne from Life and Death. I'll get into that in another explorer's guide, but Anne is the daughter of Alice, the Weeping Mother. Anne died after devoting her entire life to teaching and doing good. So the idea that she gained this wish from meeting Britta is just so cool. After you collect all the bike pieces, you're rewarded with a brand new bike too, which is neat. And that's everything you need to know about exploring Nordhaven. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments which explorer guide I should do next. Also, please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. If people enjoy my long form content, I'll continue to make it. Thank you to all my wonderful patrons. You help keep the lights on. If you'd like to support me, the links to my Patreon are in the description, where I'll shout you out in each video. I'm also live on Twitch Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 PM Eastern, where I play The Sims. See you next time.